About 10 people have said no to your offer, and now you're thinking of changing your prices. Are you even serious? Let me just explain. The reason you're feeling insecure is because of one problem, and that one problem is sample size. What causes about the sample size problem is probably a few reasons, yeah? But mainly none of those reasons is way related to pricing. Put differently, your sample size problem has nothing to do with your pricing problem. Now, the reason as to why you have this is probably because you're trying to figure out stuff. Yeah, you're just a newbie, you don't have enough experience, so you're trying to figure out as much as you can as you move on or as you progress within your job. Okay, and the reason why that is because of two reasons. Yeah, one, you're trying to work into your business. Yeah, you're trying to figure out the inner workings of your business. For instance, so under the inner workings of your business, you're trying to figure out your price information. You're trying to figure out how you get to generate leads. Yeah, that is lead generation. And another thing you're trying to figure out as you're working into your business is because you're trying to figure out customer acquisition or client acquisition and retention. Yeah. So client acquisition plus retention. Okay. So in the process of you trying to figure out your price information, your lead generation, your client acquisition and retention, there's a lot you need to come to have to understand, which leads us to the second problem, that you don't have enough data. So the fact that you don't get to have enough data, it limits you from making conclusive decisions, more so decisions that regard to price changes. Yeah. So I teach this in my free school community, by the way. Feel free to join it. Yeah, it is price clinic over school. Okay, it is free of charge, no charges at all. So feel free to join it. But for all those members who have tried to face such a problem, here's what I always tell them. First of all, I make sure that within their mindset, I tell them you don't really get to have a price problem, but what you have is you don't have enough data. And the fact that you don't get to have enough data is due to the fact that you have a sample size problem. Yeah. So what do I mean by sample size problem? Under 20 prospects or clients doesn't mean that you have enough data in regards to lead generation, in regards to client acquisition, in regards to client retention, or in regards to pricing itself. Yeah. So my best honest advice I always tell them to do is that you have to put in the work. Yeah. Because running a business is not something that is easy. It is not easy peasy. You have to put in the work. You have to work as much as you can. Another question you might have, what is it that I have to work on? Well, this is a no-brainer. But the things you're supposed to work on are, you have to work on your client acquisition issues. Yeah. So we've already seen that under 20 prospects or clients, that is less of a number that is going to give you conclusive data to make your decisions as far as to pivot within your prices. So you have to learn to acquire more clients. That means you have to learn to acquire 20 plus, that is 25, 30, 100. Yeah. So the second thing you need to work on is client retention. Why retention? So this is going to give you enough data on what gets to keep your prospects or your potential clients stay, most of those who have paid, and what it is that gets to chase them from whatever it is you're offering. Yeah, that stops them from acquiring or continuing whatever service, continuing with whatever product you're trying to offer. Yeah. So that is why client retention comes from. Yeah. So you're going to get more information about pricing based on retention. Okay. And then finally, you test prices. Now that you know the number of, you have enough data on the people that gets to stay within your, whatever it is you're offering, whether it is a service or what, then you test prices. Yeah, this could be you're trying to increase on the number of you're trying to increase on the cost, or you're trying to increase on the charges of which you're charging for your product, of which you're charging for your service. Yeah, so you keep testing what is to be the favorable kind of figure. All right, and now that is it. Yeah, so if you really don't know how all this works, by the way, I have written a book called Price It. Yeah, Price It. Feel free to grab it. Yeah, I'll be leaving links in the description, or feel free to DM me, and I'll find ways of maybe getting you a soft copy or a hard copy if you're within the reach. Okay, but the question that most of you now have, or whoever is watching this, or you who is watching this, you might be having a question and saying, okay, you've told me how to fix this sample size problem, then what would be the appropriate number for me to start, gauging myself to say that, oh, at least now this gives me a real true sample size? Well, here's a pro tip I can give you in regards to that. You have to get two things. Yeah, in fact, there are two checkboxes you need to check. Yeah, so the first checkbox is you have to have not less than 25 plus client conversations. Yeah, and when we speak of client conversation, this is where you engage. Yeah, find a stranger, try to convince them about your offer. Yeah, call people, those people you have in your contact list, call them, try to convince them of your offer. Yeah, if it is a product, reach out to people, knock on people's doors, send cold texts, send cold emails, trying to get that real interaction with people. Do they really like your product? Do they like your service? Will they even be willing to test it out? Yeah. So until you have not less than 25 plus real conversations with a client, then never at any one point think of changing your prices. Okay. The second thing, or the second checkbox, is that you have to make 10 plus offers, like real offers, not less than 10 plus real offers. Before you get to think of changing your prices, you have to really make 10 offers to 10 real clients. Yeah. And when I say 10 offers, because some of you might say, oh, I already had less than 10 or 10 clients say no to my product. That is not enough, because you already had less than 25 real conversations. Yeah. But trust me, you have to make it a point that whatever number you have to make, it has to give you a fruit, like whatever number of the conversations you have to reach into, it has to give you a way that leads to 10 real offers made. Meaning that you have to have sold your product or your offer to about 10 people. That is cash in from 10 people. Until you check these boxes, yeah, both of these boxes, never think of changing your prices. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alan. I'm a price strategist based in Uganda, and I help people price with clarity, confidence, and control. So I teach this, and the only way I can help you if you have questions is that one, get to watch these free videos on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. The second way is that you can join my free Skool community. It is free of charge. Just go over to Skool, then search Price Clinic. Yeah, it will be there. It will be the first one, in fact. So the third one I'm going to help you is you're going to grab my book. Yeah, so I give a free digital copy of this. Yeah, for those of you who want a like hard copy like this one, you'll have to reach out to me or DM me, and we find ways of how it gets to you. But that is how I can help you get to fix your prices.